it's the weekly wrap-up, the WWU. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It's Saturday. It's the weekend. We just went through another week. Are we closer to shit hitting the fan or further? Well, you guys know I have my opinions. And that's really what's made, I think, this channel so much fun, is I get to share my opinion. I get to get it out, and you guys, you get to give it back. It's wonderful. And you only have to watch when you feel like it. Watch as often as you want. And you don't have to believe anything. It's up to you to decide in your world. In my world, let's hear what I see in our world, right? I think right now the world is upside down. I've referred to it as backwards, bizarro land. I've said, this isn't the America I know. I've even asked the question of reality itself. Did I wake up in another dimension? You know, what happened to logic? What happened to reasonable thought? You know, applying critical thinking skills. It's just poof, gone. Crazy. Anyways, let's get into the week's events, and you can decide, you know, do you need to be more of a prepper, less of a prepper? Are you doing everything right? You know, what's going on? Well, let's start with Boris Johnson. Yes, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, affectionately known as BJ. He's doing a Trump, right? He's announcing first, and then he's negotiating. So early in the week, he came out and announced, we got this Brexit thing all sealed up, no problem, everything's great, and you know, it did the same thing that Trump is doing. It makes the trading algorithms, the computers with AI, they all smile, they're all happy. They trade positively, you know. But they're calling for Brexit. They're saying, yeah, this deal's going to happen. Well, if it happens, the EU is already in big economic trouble. You know, they're going into recession. They're in recession. They've announced recession. The indicators are recessionary. The banking problems exist, right? And a Brexit deal, it could cripple Germany. Now, when the EU was started, they needed all the countries they could get. They needed Italy. And without Italy, they wouldn't have made it. So they did some finagling with numbers, some lying and bullshit, and got Italy in. Well, it would have been the same case with Britain. Britain is a huge source of GDP, of income, of wealth potential, prosperity. If they leave the EU, even with a Brexit trade deal in place, it could push them over the edge. Very interesting. Let's pay attention. And I would like to note at this point, I wonder if you guys have seen a change in the way I present things. I'm really not much of an alarmist. I know I have been at times in the past, but now I'm just watching and waiting. You know, I'm not praying for shit to hit the fan, but I'm ready for it to hit the fan. I'm not seeing everything collapsing instantly. I'm seeing a slowdown, a gradual, continuous, predictable slowdown. Of course, the big fear is the giant false flag, the giant black swan, the big announcement, the event where we just go, oh shit, and everyone collectively craps their pants, and you know, it's bad. It gets bad the next day. That could happen. But we see some weird things going on. It's an upside down world. In Turkey, early in the week, their El Presidente, Erdogan, says, you know, screw the U.S. I'm not meeting with Pence. I'm not meeting with anybody. Right? I'm not meeting with Pompeo. I'm not meeting with anybody. I'm going to meet with Trump, right? And then later in the week, supposedly, he took the paper, the letter from Trump, and threw it in the bin, the trash bin. And then by the end of the week, we were being told, everything's great, right? Everything's great. Erdogan is happy with us, right? Now, what's interesting, though, is the U.S. says we're out of Syria. And so Turkey says, well, then we're going to start bombing and taking care of business. And then there's the threat of, hey, you can't do that, and then who the hell are you? And that's what's really started all this. And on our side of the fence, in our country, Democrats and rhinos, that's Republicans in name only, they're screaming, you can't do that. Our allies, the people we've made promises to, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Industrial military complex whining, they want their war. Now, what I find fascinating is every time we have an election, especially presidential elections, the presidential candidate says, I'm going to do the opposite of what the other candidate has been doing, right? I'm going to get us out of war, right? Remember, Bush got us in all those wars and Obama was going to get us out. No, Obama increased the number of military conflicts, right? And they have such cute names for military conflicts now. You know, kinetic response. Kinetic response, you mean you dropped a bunch of bombs, right? And Trump even was like, you know, we got to get out of these endless wars. Well, he's getting us out of one with Syria. He's kind of laid down the North Korea one. It's quiet. You know, hopefully we can deal with Iran. And so far he's got a decent track record. But this pulling out of Syria, fascinating how all of the peace-mongering hippie Democrats want us to stay there, you know. I think I've made my case in both written opinions at Patreon and Facebook, as well as in video, that if we support one side so that they can kill the other side, is that any better or worse than the other side killing the side that we supposedly would support? And then the question of terrorists. Well, it's terrorist group versus terrorist group. And I'm talking about Eastern Syria, not Damascus. You know, out there with all the Kurds and all that shit. You know, some of those terrorist Kurds are commies. Wow, you know, what a bizarre situation. Why should we support any terrorists? I think that might be a question that has been crossing President Trump's mind. You know, these are tribal wars. If we go in there, we're spending our money, losing our lives. For what? So that we have one side hate us and the other side resent us? It's a lose-lose scenario. And the only ones who win are those who sell arms, you know, military-industrial contracts, you know, arms, support. You know, just at this stage of the game, it's nice to see a politician finally say, let's get out of some wars, huh? All right, let's move along here. Oh, well, speaking of wars, we have the U.S.-China trade war. Earlier this week, we had a partial phase one, look at we're doing some good things promise come out. Once again, we've been playing this game for over a year, about a year, 2 years. Can't even get a straight answer on how long this trade war with China has been going on. I mean, you could make the argument we've been having a trade war with them for 20 years because they've been beating us by us sending more money to them than they're spending on our stuff. Right? You could call that a trade war. We're engaged in a trade war, but now we have tariffs, right? That's like a large bomb. You know, tariffs are big bombs in a trade war rather than just screwing with people's money and economy. You know, let's do some tariff bombing. Well, we were told that they're going to buy more agricultural products. Well, yeah, they need them. They're having problems with African swine flu and the army beetle, army grub, army bug that's wiping out some of their crops. You know, so I see that as not an advancement or win in the trade war, even though it's being used to trick the computers and the stock market into everything's great. Gonna get a trade war settlement. We're gonna get a trade agreement. Everything's fine. No worries. You know, keep that stock market going. You're gonna retire. I promise you're gonna be rich by the time you get to age 66. We promise. Yeah, right. Okay. So, you know, and the trade war with China, even though they're saying we got some good things happening, right? Phase one, how many phases? 2? 100? How big are the phases? Do we need 2 out of 3 of these phases to be in our favor to be a win? I mean, we don't even know what the goal is, much less the rules or even the name of the fucking game. I think I know what the name of the game is. It's don't let the economy crash. Anyways, the trade war with China is supposed to be, well, they're the bad guys. They've been abusing us. Well, now we have $7.5 billion in European tariffs being levied against Europe, the EU, our good buddies, other members of the white European community, That sounds like a trade war. The U.S. is now going to have a trade war with Europe. Trump has made many of the same claims about Europe as he has about China. They abuse us, they take advantage of us, it's time for them to pay their own bills, pay their own way, etc., yada, yada, yada. I know that the Turkey thing was part of that. I'm sorry, Syria. We're pulling out of Syria, let Turkey and Europe and Russia. If you guys want to play in that into the pool that is very dirty and murky, go ahead, right? You guys pay for your own stuff. Now we're seeing at the end of the week here, European tariffs, here you go, it's going to start. And the EU, as I've already pointed out with the Brexit deal, they're already in recession. They're already hurting. So it's like, well, now you want to take care of your own military too, don't you? And by the way, you're not going to screw us over because our economy is on the way down as well. Very interesting things shaking down there. It doesn't bode well if we're having to say, hey, China, hey, Europe, get the hell out of here, right? With your bargains you're getting. Crazy stuff, right? And China has seen in the past 30 years, this year it's the smallest GDP growth or expansion that they've seen. Now, it doesn't mean they're going in reverse in recession, even though supposedly they're in reverse in recession. Every year, China claims they're growing, they're expanding. Our GDP is 5%, 6%, 8%, 10%. We're growing every year, leaps and bounds. And now they're having the slowest year in 30 years. And 30 years basically goes back to the time of China's breakout moment. In other words, this year is going to be minuscule compared to their bigger years. What does that say about their economy? Their future prospects? What does it say about the trade war? What does it say about our ability to send money to China? What does it say about China's ability to send money here, right? Having some money issues, a lot of money issues. Shit, it's the fan money. And anyone who accuses me of being Mr. Bad News, I've got good news this week. Yes, this could be the start of a pullout of the shit, it's the fan. We could be taking a side exit and maybe steering away from it, because in Norway, they have announced that in order to save the environment, you pee in the shower. Good news for everyone. I salute my Norwegian ancestors and relatives for peeing in the shower to save water. They've also been advised to brush their teeth in the shower. So does that mean you wash your armpits while you pee so you use less water because you're kind of doing double duty? Not double duty, even though the Norwegians said, what are you going to ask us to do next? Shit in the shower? Right? So yeah, if you're spending more time in there peeing and brushing your teeth while the water's running, are you saving water? Really? Right? Because if you go in the shower, wash off, scrub off, head to toe, and get out, you've used X amount of water. Now they want you to use X amount of water, plus toothbrush time, plus holding it. And they didn't even talk about what women are supposed to do. You know, men, we can aim. You can, like, look at the drain, and you could probably aim at that thing if you wanted. You know, they put little things inside men's urinals in public bathrooms so you kind of aim at a good spot and don't get splash. So are we supposed to aim at the drain? Anyways, good news. This could save the environment. That little Greta tart from Sweden, maybe she'll pee in the shower and maybe she'll feel good about it and stop crying and whining and saying her childhood was stolen by her, instead of saying her childhood was stolen by her parents and other climate activists who scared the little girl who has mental problems, admitted depression and other mental problems. You know, save her. Okay, you know, this is, the world is upside down. It's upside down. China, a country, a foreign country, has pressured the NBA commissioner to fire the Houston Rockets general manager over that tweet. So, you know, I made some comments and wanted to throw out some ideas. This is what I think. This is what I would do if I was an NBA player, because I want us to think about it. I want us to put ourselves in their shoes. What would you do? Would you not? Right? I was like, I would. If I got hired to play basketball, I wouldn't say a damn word. I'd play basketball, right? But if you want to get politically involved, you're rolling the dice. You know, but if another country tells you what to do, tells your American corporation what to do, isn't that crossing a line? Right? If I was a basketball player and I was keeping my mouth shut and just playing good basketball, if I was doing that and then they came over and said, hey, look, you're going to start firing this guy and hiring that guy, be like, why is a foreign country telling us what to do? Now they've taken politics and put them into basketball. They're coming back the other way. And be like, you know, fuck you, China. We don't need your money. You could tell China, you don't get NBA. You don't get it. You can get your own basketball teams and watch your own people. Right? It's a privilege to watch American basketball instead of American basketball acting like a bunch of whores and selling themselves on the corner. Well, we'll do this and we'll do that for money. It used to be the other way around. Hey, we got some good stuff going on here. You want to pay to watch? Instead of, hey, we want your money. What can we do to get it? It's a difference between being a professional and being a whore. Not a good sign, right? When another country can tell you what to do. Doesn't that make you a slave when another country can tell you what to do and you got to do it? Right? It's control. Slavery is ultimate control, but aren't they getting a lot closer? Just a question, just asking. Shit hitting the fan when another country tells a private business what to do? Yeah. And speaking of other countries and telling people what to do, this could be good news, could be bad news, but it certainly is shit it's the fan news. Social shit it's the fan news. That lets us know, yes, we in America are in bizarro land, because I have an example of another country that is actually using its mind. And this is a country that is doing several things right. It's a country that I would consider living in if it wasn't so fucking cold. I'm not talking about Russia, I'm talking about Poland. What has Poland done in the last few years? They have come out and said, no more immigrants from the Middle East, from Africa, from any what President Trump rightly called a shithole. No more shithole immigrants. This is Poland. We speak Polish. We like Polish sausages and Polish sandwiches. We like Polish borscht. We like whatever is Polish because we're Polish. We're proud of being Polish. Good. Good for Poland. What else did Poland do? They're like, you know what? We're going to start buying gold for our central bank. We're going to start backing our currency and having gold reserves. Because these people in the West and in the East, they're fighting and fucking the whole system up. Between Europe, the U.S., and China, Poland's like, you know what? And I don't believe Poland is part of the EU. And if they are, it's in a very limited capacity, and they don't give a shit about the EU immigration crap. Good for Poland. I'm sure that peeing in the shower is an option in Poland, not a mandate. I tell you. So what is Poland doing? Why did I bring Poland up? Well, in Poland, teaching sexual education to minors is now going to be a crime. You see, they're more conservative. Now you might be saying, but wait, teen birth rates are going to go up. What, you mean that kids watching TV and movies and being able to look at porn on the internet, they're not going to learn enough about where a penis goes and how a vagina works? No, we have to have it taught in schools, right? Like in America, where a overweight, bearded transvestite who looks like... Do you guys remember the band called Twisted Sister from the 80s? Had Dee Snider, big, giant, tall dude, you know, basically wore a giant blonde wig and was just crazy, funny, entertaining. He never made me once want to dress like a transvestite. He was just entertaining to watch. We're not gonna take it, right? Funny 80s stuff. But I hope you've all seen the picture of the trans testicle guy who goes to classes to talk to kids about alternative lifestyles, sex education. That's what we've got in America, right? Demonstrations of bananas and prophylactics, telling kids that masturbation is great and that you should be able to touch each other, and that, you know, if you're gay, be gay. And by the way, let's see, what else can we teach kids? Oh, you don't know what your gender is, so you get to decide. They've taken sex education, you know, penis, vagina, and turned it into a social engineering experiment. Remember months ago, years ago, someone criticized me. What are you talking about, all this social engineering, John? There's no social engineering. Really? Where are we at today compared to just 5 years ago? We went from a few gender confused people to people going, you know what? You should try being gay first, so that way you can talk about it. Because if you haven't done it, you can't talk about it. And it's okay to be gay. No, it's not. It's okay to be yourself. How about that? Be yourself. Don't submit to social pressure, because social pressure is coming from the wackos. Right? And so Poland is like, you know what? We like our country. We like our culture. We like our culture. We're not going to change it to satisfy a bunch of Fruit Loops and foreigners. Literally, Fruit Loops and foreigners. I'm proud of Poland. They're saying enough of this crap, because look what it's produced. Nothing or negative results. Poland is not upside down. Now, I'm not for the radicalization of conservative values where everyone has to run around with tape over their mouth and they can't talk about anything. But the response by the political left over Poland is, this is censorship. We should be able to teach and learn. Well, how is it and why is it that when the left is in charge of the teaching and learning, on the right, people who are more traditional culturally aren't allowed to teach, and no one's allowed to learn what I know and believe, or you, or any of us? It's always about the left. And the only time that they come out and say free speech is a must, it's a human right, is when they aren't getting their way. But as soon as they're getting their way and they're in charge, guess what? You're not allowed to talk anymore, and everything you say is bad and wrong, and it's illegal, and you better call people by the right pronoun. Bah, bah, bah. It's interesting. What we're seeing in Poland is a conflict. It's going to contribute and be a part of shit hitting the fan. If shit does hit the fan in Poland, I can guarantee that they're going to straighten up a lot faster than other countries, because they are less fucked up than other countries, including the good old United States of America. Grab your banana, go to the bathroom, might as well do it while you're in the shower so you can get a couple of things done, and experiment with your sexuality. Get the fuck out of here with that. All right, moving on. Speaking of a good fucking, HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. It's a giant bank, international banking conglomerate, corporation, whatever else you can attach to banking, cartel. They may start cutting jobs in London, New York, Germany. We've already seen what? Other banks cutting thousands and tens of thousands of jobs. Closing trading desks. Computers are going to do it. We don't need these bankers. We're not getting as many loans. Right? We don't need all these people around here. They're just taking up money and jobs and chairs. Well, guess what? HSBC, they're doing the same thing. They're looking at it. They haven't done it yet, but they're looking at it. What's that tell you? Someone in a boardroom's probably made a decision up here. Right? Tells me things are getting worse, not better. Deutsche Bank cut at least, 20,000 jobs this year? What about last year? Even more? HSBC, I believe, is bigger than Deutsche Bank. Anyways, and I want to end this and finish this weekly wrap-up with a discussion of the impeachment and where we're at in the process. Democrats are throwing shit at a wall, in my opinion, and seeing what sticks. Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump is pressuring people, bad Trump, and bad this and that, right? Well, guess what? They will get their impeachment. I would love it if they do the impeachment legally. Hold a vote so we know who's voting yes and who's voting no. Hold the vote. Do a real impeachment so it's legitimate. I don't want a phony fake impeachment to get to the Senate where the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court resides over the impeachment hearing and have them throw it out for cause. That would just enrage the idiot left because they don't understand, proper parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, how to behave like a decent human being. They don't understand those things. They'll think they're getting screwed over, and that may be what the Democrats are doing, knowing the Republicans will just shit can it and go, what the fuck are you doing? And it's not the Republicans. How about right-minded thinking people in the Senate? A little more mature over there. Not much, but a little bit. I want them to do it right. Stand up and act like at least a human being with spines in the House, Nancy Pants Pelosi, so that when it gets to Chuck, I don't give a fuck Schumer about the Constitution. Chuck, I don't give a fuck about the Constitution, Schumer. There we go. They can have a proper hearing. Now, why do I want a proper hearing, a proper trial in the Senate? Well, because it is a trial. It is no longer a bunch of baseless accusations and secondhand information and bullshit. But rather than them throw it out summarily over there, I want them to have a trial. Because Trump can call witnesses. Now he is the accused. And he can call witnesses like, who? The Bidens? Hey, Bidens, what did you do? What did you say? Sounds like the Democrats are accusing me of what you did. They can call the Clintons in. They can call in the Obamas, James Comey, Brennan, everybody involved in this coup conspiracy. It can be exposed through the trial process that a conspiracy is happening, and that's what this impeachment is. To draw a nexus behind past illegal behavior of other politicians. Draw a nexus, a connection to the impeachment itself. That would allow Trump a massive platform. Everyone is now watching very closely the impeachment trial. Now the mainstream media, they can put their spin on it, but more people are going to hear more of the truth and how crooked, corrupt, immoral, and criminal the globalists are, the deep state, the Illuminati, the powers that be, all of these people over there. That's what I would hope for. Impeach him properly, you bunch of cowardly fucks in the House of Representatives. Because I want to see not a political trial, even though it is still politically based, but one that is more of a legal trial. Once again, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He's there because it is a legal proceeding. Now, the motivation may be politically based, but it's going to require an examination of legal facts and legal opinions, of course. But this is what we're looking at the potential of. We're looking at a potential exposure of the Democrats, of the socialists, the globalists. That's what can happen. I don't think the Democrats are going to do it because they know what would be coming. But they want to throw as much shit at the wall, sling as much mud in the air, try and bash Trump about, and then claim they were cheated out of their rights, right? By having their phony impeachment thrown out. But that's what they're risking, because they could send a phony impeachment, bullshit, fake, crappy impeachment over to the Senate, and the Senate still could say, okay, let's try this thing. Trump, get your witnesses. Even a crappy impeachment. And do I have faith in Mitch McConnell? No. They're a bunch of spineless weenies in the Republican Party. Very few of them are real men, real critical thinkers. Very few of the women there are critical thinkers. They're operating, as far as I'm concerned, mostly out of fear, which is an emotional response. They need to knock that off and start acting like real statesmen and real intelligent people. But we're not seeing that, not yet. And it's for that reason that I say shit is going to hit the fan Get prepared now. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club. Go to the Prepared Mind at Patreon. You can sponsor the show for $2 a month. $2 a month, and you support our efforts, our research. And behind the scenes, we do a lot of things. You know, that $2 pays for the preparedmind.club, C-L-U-B. Preparedmind.club is your store for buying preppers, prepper supplies, reference works. That's what that pays for. It keeps us going. It keeps us having meetings in the background, discussions, roundtable conferences. I'm on the phone or texting or emailing all day long, in addition to making videos and doing that work. Keeps me busy all day long because you guys support it. So if you like the information, $2 a month, that does it. But for now, chance favors the Prepared Mind is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America. And boy, it is a topsy-turvy, upside-down world we need fixed. And I think things are going to get a lot worse before they get a whole lot better. Talk to you soon.